And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. If you haven't noticed, interest rates for home buying is really low, 2.7%, and many people say you should take advantage of that before the fall, the winter weather. So joining us now here on The Factor Uncensored is Tricia Turner, who's a realtor. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored.
Thank you for having me.
So why are we, first of all, seeing these interest rates so low when it comes to home buying?
You know, the interest rates are historically low. I was a lender for years too. We never saw interest rates like this, but what they've done is they've lowered these interest rates to try to stimulate the economy, of course, stimulate home buying. And what it has done is created a housing inventory shortage because we now have an historically low inventory, which is unheard of in Houston.
So if there is an inventory shortage, that means the buyer would benefit. No, I'm sorry, the seller would benefit from the shortage, right?
The seller does benefit. However, what we're finding happening even now is because of this inventory shortage, sellers are now reluctant to put their home on the market because they can't find anything. So it's really got us in quite a situation. And for your average homeowner out there, they're like, well, you know what? If I put my home on the market and it sells, because it will with this low inventory, where am I going to go? And so that's what the problem, one of our problems that we're having right now because of this mass inventory shortage or low inventory, and then of course low interest rates.
And of course, that's a classic cause and effect. Once you have a shortage and then people are concerned about selling their homes, where the hell will I go is what they'll say. For those who are also looking at taking advantage of those historically low interest rates, does that apply to refinancing your home as well, or is it just selling and buying?
Refinancing as well, and they tell you kind of what you need to look at when you're refinancing your house is if you can save about a point. So say your interest rate was 4%. Well, rates are below 3% right now, so definitely if you could refinance right now, now would be the time for sure.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of people are dealing with the pandemic and uncertain about renting or selling or buying a house. What advice would you have for those who are concerned about this?
Okay, so on that note, number one, it's the best time to buy or sell a house. Number one, because we have a low inventory. So even homes that failed to sell last year are selling right now. Homes in the rental market are flying off the market because when the pandemic first hit, there was a lot of concern about foreclosures. Will people be able to pay their mortgage once people are getting laid off? And so the mindset was that we'll go through this short time. This COVID thing will go away. Things will go back to normal. Well, now it's lingered on. So naturally, people that were once furloughed, a lot of them have lost their jobs. What you will know, though, here, and this is in Houston and nationally, is that almost 50% of all homeowners have almost 50% equity in their house, and that's a fact. So the mindset was that, okay, perhaps we can do a cash out refi, pull our cash out to be able to ride through the storm. However, no one really thought about, well, you can't do a cash out refi if you don't have a job. So what has ended up happening, and I have a lot of my clients doing this, is that they've had to sell their house to get a hold of their equity, and they've become renters. They're paying 2 years rent on a house so that they can establish their credit again, get back to work, and get out of the situation that they're in. So the rental market is super hot right now because of that.
Now, how long will this historically low interest rate last? There was concern about the fall, the winter, and it may go back up.
Well, as you know, of course, we're all waiting to see what happens really with the election. Is there going to be a change? What will happen? And so a lot of the economists had projected the interest rates would stay the same. Then some have said it's gone up. Just this morning, there's hints of it going even lower. However, when you look at every economist, their projections for next year are that it'll hover somewhere around 3.7 by the end of the year. My personal belief is that it will stay where it is, maybe drop down just a little bit lower, but in reality, we have a lot of buyers, we don't have a lot of homes in the market, and we need homes. So I don't think lowering the interest rate is going to help that situation at all because we don't have a shortage of buyers.
Right. Tricia Turner, realtor, thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored.
Thank you for having me.